somebody that you love tell you a favorite story about their life. You know, it's funny, like years and years ago, my grandfather, when he was alive, he would sit down with my brother and myself and he would tell us beautiful stories of what it was like when he was growing up, what it was like when he was raising my dad and his 9 brothers and sisters. Wow. And we would laugh and we would enjoy those stories, but after he passed away, those stories were gone. They weren't written down. Well, Storyworth is here to help with all of those stories, putting them together for you in a book. And you know, it's funny, right? So Nick Baum, founder of this brand,
Hi, Nick.
You saw him in the video with his dad. You know, you had this moment with yourself where you said like, well, a lot of people would be really overwhelmed with the idea of writing a book. How could you get all those stories down on paper? You figured out a way to do it for us.
That's right. So my dad is 93 now.
Okay.
And my kids, Eric and Sophie, are 8 and 5.
Okay.
So they've had a chance to meet him. But when they are teenagers, I'm going to have this book, several hundred pages of his stories to share with them. And the way I did it is I told him, instead of writing a full biography, you can write me 1 email a week. And I started sending him weekly questions about his life.
Okay.
And what are some of the questions?
So we have hundreds of questions that you can choose from. Everything about your career, your family, your childhood, military, faith, anything you name it. Some that I really like are the ones that you might not think to ask otherwise. So things like, describe your childhood bedroom, or what are some of your favorite recipes?
Yeah. Or like, you know, how did you get to school? Because I know that one by heart. I walk 10 kilometers every single day back and forth.
Right.
Today, we're giving everyone the opportunity to take advantage of the most beautiful gift that you can be able to give to not only the loved one who's writing the story for you, but to your entire family, because it becomes a memoir. It becomes a keepsake that you can now have printed and bound with photos, with the full story of their life, and all of those memories that you want to be able to cherish and pass down from generation to generation. It's called Storyworth. We're going to tell you all about how it works, but here's the thing. Today we have a Black Friday sale price for you. 5 payments of $20 gets it home. You have free shipping and handling on your purchase today. And Nick, let's tell everyone how it works, right? So we're all going to get this voucher, right? A voucher similar to this in the mail.
Yep.
And what happens then?
So then you go to the link there, you can scan the QR code, and you sign up for Storyworth. At that point, you can sign up to tell your own stories, or you can invite a loved one. So people often will buy it for a parent or a grandparent, maybe their in-laws, maybe their step-parents, aunts, uncles, we've seen everything. And from that point, we'll email that storyteller a question about their life each week. So you can pick the questions, they can pick the questions. Oftentimes it's fun if the whole family gets together and picks some questions.
Well, yeah, because like, you know, Bree and Clay might want to know something different about Grandma and
about
Grandpa,
exactly.
and you as well, right?
Right, and I think about too, and I want to go back to, of course, more of the process, but you know, my parents are only in their 70s now, not in their 90s. Yeah. But one day they will be in their 80s, and one day they will be in their 90s, and I'm not going to think about what happens after that. So when they don't have their stories to tell on a Christmas Eve, on a fun 4th of July at a barbecue, you know, when Bree's graduating and maybe they're not there to share a fun story, I would have it here, and you would have it here. You know, and here I'm thinking about the future. They're healthy, darn it. So I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just know what happens, and you know what will happen. It's just life. It's the circle of life. So get those stories now while you can.
You know, my grandfather passed away when I was 19.
Aww.
My grandmother lived until she was 90, and I was very, very lucky to have her until I was 35. But the very first thing I thought when she passed away was, who's going to tell us those stories? The second thing I thought of was, who's going to pray for us, right? Because the thing is, I know that she prayed for us every single day. When the buyers who brought this to us at QVC brought this book to us and this opportunity, I started to cry immediately, just like you. Because I was like, oh my gosh, if only everybody had the opportunity to document a memoir of their life stories. Now, for me, I would think that that's overwhelming. If somebody just said to me, Alberti, write a story about your life, I would be like, where do I start? So you made it easy with this question by question, week by week process. Now, of course, you can speed up the process if you want.
Exactly.
You can write an entire story every single day if you want.
And you can write how long you want. Like when you say story, if I just want, you know, my mom to fill out like 3 or 4 paragraphs.
That's right.
Like even just telling us about like her favorite little funny moment that she had at some point when she was a teenager. It doesn't have to be a chapter book. They write as much as they want or as little as they want.
It can be a paragraph or it can be a whole chapter.
Exactly.
And then how do they include the photos?
So the way they submit the stories is they get the email with the question, and all they have to do is reply to that email. So it's super, super simple. And if you attach photos to that email, they'll end up in the book as well.
Wow.
So it's super, super easy. And that's really because, again, you want to focus on the story. You want to get it in their voice, the way they would tell it.
And then, Nick, how does it become a book? So,
Yeah,
you
tell
know,
us
you
that process.
fill out a story.
Yep.
Basically, you fill out an email question every week for 52 weeks, or you can do more, like Alberti and Nick said. But when it's all done, how does it turn into this?
And how many pages is it? Right?
So you can do up to 480 pages, but
Wow.
some people do multiple volumes. They get to
Wow.
the end of the year and they say, hey, I've got more stories to tell, and so of course you can keep going. And so at the end of the year, when you've written your set of stories, we print it in a book for you. And
Okay.
you can go in and edit it. You can, sometimes people add the photos at the end of the process. But then we take care of all the printing. We lay it out beautifully. We have a bunch of different cover designs, and you can customize them. You can choose different colors. You can put
You
your
can
photos
name
on it.
them, of course, anything
Of
that you
course,
want.
people have lots of good titles.
Okay, we weren't sure if we were supposed to be speaking over this, and we are. So this gentleman obviously, you know, purchased Storyworth, and he purchased it for himself so that he could share the stories, and he can hand them down to the generation after him, and then they can hand it down to the next generation after them. So you have lots of options here. You can fill it out yourself, because if you are the grandparent and you want those grandkids to remember you when you're not here, it's a wonderful present to give to you, and then it becomes a present for them when you're done with all the emails. But to gift it to your parents, I think, you know, the 3 of us are of an age where we understand that QR code, and we can say, Mom, Dad, this is how it works. Just give me your phone.
And we'll
Every
help you
week
out.
you're gonna get an email. Pick whatever question you want to answer, and you can write as little as you want or as much as you want. But just answer this question every single week so that one day every child and every grandchild and every niece and every nephew will remember what you were about and who you were.
By the way, you also get the digital copy as well, so don't think that you're bound to always having to buy books or anything like that. You get the digital copy. In fact, let us show you this testimonial,
It's ready.
which talks to you all about this process and the results that you'll get from it.
I wish it had been around when my parents were alive.
Oh my gosh.
This is beautiful.
There were many tears and many laughs. It's a wonderful gift.
This is amazing, Angela.
Very good gift.
Take the time to reflect on your life as I have.
You are part of my happy memories.
I know.
A little speechless
I
after
know.
watching
It's like
that,
when
right?
I know. It's like Nick, truly a tearjerker, but a very, very important gift to give to not only yourself and your loved ones, but everybody in your family.
Yeah, and I also gotta say it's a lot of fun.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
So people start out and they write the emails because maybe they got it as a gift, and then they find that walking down memory lane and reminiscing, and they're starting to think about high school and friends they haven't seen in forever, and suddenly you start pulling those threads, and not only that, but you're having interactions with your family every week. So I don't know how often you see your parents or your grandparents, and or maybe how often you see your grandchildren. But suddenly through this process, once a week, you get this meaningful topic to talk about, and you have these conversations. I had one customer tell me that her daughter was so much closer to her grandmother because she'd always seen her as old. You know, grandma was always old, but suddenly she could imagine her grandmother in high school.
So
right?
sweet.
Yeah.
Nick, I wish we could talk longer. We have to wrap up. Go and find out more info on QVC.com if you're interested. If we
Pick this
didn't
up for
answer all
yourself,
your
yeah.
questions, but it is simple and easy. Nick figured out how to get your life story written down so that you can share it with others, and it really is a beautiful gift and a gift that keeps on gifting.
Yeah, Nick, thank you so much. It's a pleasure
Thank
to have
you.
you on our show.
Nick, nice
Pick
to
that
meet
up
you,
when we
honey.
have it for you.
Thank you.
320-380 is your item number there. I love that
I
idea
know,
so
right?
much.
Honestly,
All right.
it makes me want to